Good morning, my dear children. Today we are going to start our sixth lesson, The 100 Dresses, Part 2. And the writer is L. Sor Easter. While the class was circling the room, the monitor from the principal's office brought Miss Mason a note. Miss Mason read it several times and studied it thoughtfully for a while. Then she clapped her hands. Attention, class! Everyone back to their seat. When the shuffling of feet had stopped and the room was still and quiet, Miss Mason said, I have a letter from Vanda's father that I want to read to you. Miss Mason stood there a moment, and the silence in the room grew tense and expectant. The teacher adjusted her glasses slowly and deliberately. Her manner indicated that what was coming. This letter from Vanda's father was a matter of great importance. Everybody listened closely as Miss Mason read the brief note. So, children, when everyone was having a look at the amazing drawings Vanda had drawn and admiring it, when the monitor of the class brought a piece of note for Miss Mason. Miss Mason read that note multiple times as she couldn't believe what was written in it. Finally, she decided to gather the class to read it loud and clear. It was a letter from Vanda Petronsky's dad. She silenced for a while, which created tension in the minds of her students. She adjusted her spectacles, which made it clear how important that note is. She began reading it, and everyone listened carefully. So, here we come across this word listened closely means listening with attention. So let us see what was written in the note. Dear teacher, my Vanda will not come to your school anymore. Jake also. Now we move away to big city. No more holler Polak. No more ask why funny name. Plenty of funny names in the big city. Yours truly, Jan Petronsky. So the letter began with a salutation to Miss Mason. Vanda's father conveyed his intention of not sending both of his children, Vanda and Jake, to school anymore. He mentioned that they were shifting to another city, a big one, where no one would care enough about their strange name. A big city with a lot of people having weird names. Now, Vanda's classmates thought her name was weird and funny. You remember? So, Vanda was a Polish immigrant to America and thus had an unfamiliar name. So, this was the situation, children. His father was really upset with all these holopolek. Now, a deep silence met the reading of this letter. Miss Mason took off her glasses, blew on them, and wiped them on her soft white handkerchief. Then she put them on again and looked at the class. When she spoke, her voice was very low. I am sure that none of the boys and girls in room 13 would purposely and deliberately hurt anyone's feelings because his or her name happened to be a long, unfamiliar one. I prefer to think that what was said in thoughtlessness. I know that all of you feel the way I do, that this is a very unfortunate thing to have happened, unfortunate and sad, both, and I want you to all and I want you all to think about it. So, after hearing what was there in that letter, everyone was left speechless. Miss Mason too was stunned, and thus she cleaned her glasses. She wore them again and spoke to the class in a very low voice. She conveyed her disappointment to the class and asked them to ensure her that nothing was done purposefully to hurt Vanda. She gave the children benefit of doubt that everything that they did was done unintentionally. She said whatever happened was sad and unfortunate. Now, children, she advised the students to introspect about it too. What is introspection? To thinking, give a thought by an individual. Think about it ourselves. So, that is introspection. The first period was a study period. Maddie tried to prepare her lesson, but she could not put her mind on her work. She had a very sick feeling in the bottom of her stomach. True, she had not enjoyed listening to Peggy ask Wanda how many dresses she had in her closet, but she had said nothing. She had stood by silently, and that was just as bad as what Peggy had done. Worse, she was a coward. At least Peggy hadn't considered they were being mean, but Maddie, had thought they were doing wrong. She could put herself in Vanda's shoes. Now, children, look at this situation that was taking place. Everyone began thinking about what was written in that letter and how each one of them made Vanda uh, feel. In their first period, Maddie couldn't concentrate on her studies as she felt sick for not stopping Peggy at the right time. Had she stopped Peggy from playing that dress game with Vanda, things could have been different. Although Maddie never teased Vanda, but nor did she stop Peggy from doing it, which makes her just as bad or maybe worse. Peggy's intentions were never to hurt Vanda, and she was not aware that her game hurt her feelings. Maddie, on the other hand, was aware of its impact, yet she stood silent, which made her a coward for not standing against what's wrong. So, will we come here, children? Goodness, wasn't there anything she could do? If only she could tell Vanda she hadn't meant to hurt her feelings. She turned around and stole a glance at Peggy, but Peggy did not look up. She seemed to be studying hard. Well, whether Peggy felt badly or not, Maddie, had to do something. She had to find Vanda Petronsky. Maybe she had not yet moved away. Maybe Peggy would climb the heights with her and they would tell Vanda she had won the contest, that they thought she was smart and the 100 dresses were beautiful. So here we see children, they want to compensate what all wrong things they have done. So filled with guilt and regret, Maddie wished for a chance to apologize to Vanda, hoping Peggy would be thinking about Vanda too. She takes a look at Peg, but she was busy studying. Now, regardless of what Peggy was thinking, Maddie decided to take some action. So, you see, Maddie is really hurt by her own doing. She hoped Vanda hadn't yet moved away and she could tell her how sorry she was and appreciate her 100 dresses. When school was dismissed in the afternoon, Peggy said with pretended casualness, "Hey, let's go and see if that kid has left town or not." So Peggy had the same idea. Maddie glowed. Peg was really all right. The two girls hurried out of the building, up the street towards Bogan's Heights, the part of town that wore such forbidding air on this kind of a November afternoon. drizzly, damp, and dismal. Well, at least, said Peggy gruffly, I never did call her a foreigner or make fun of her name. I never thought she had the sense to know we were making fun of her anyway. I thought she was too dumb and gay. Look how she can draw. Children, we have seen here drizzly, damp, and dismal. That means wet and sad. So, and forbidding is unfriendly. So that day, after the school had ended, Peggy asked Maddie if they could go and check if Wanda has moved or not. Maddie was satisfied at the thought that they both had same plans of apologizing to Wanda. Now, children, both of them hurried to Bogin's Heights. Bogin Heights is the place where Vanda lived, the place where Vanda lived in order to find her. Okay. Now, during this season, the place was generally wet and the atmosphere was sad and hopeless. Okay. So, yes, here. Well, at least, said Peggy gruffly, I never did call her a foreigner or make fun of her name. I never thought she had the sense to know we were making fun of her anyway. I thought she was too dumb. And gee, look how she can draw. Maddie could say nothing. All she hoped was that they would find Vanda. She wanted to tell her that they were sorry they had picked on her and how wonderful the whole school thought she was. And please, not to move away and everybody would be nice. She and Peggy would fight anybody who was not nice. The two girls hurried on. They hoped to get to the top of the hill before dark. So, children, what has happened here? Peggy tries to comfort herself by murmuring that at least she did not call her a foreigner because she was an immigrant. Neither did she make her feel different for having an unfamiliar name. She was always in this delusion that Wanda had no idea that those girls were making fun of her. Above all, is such a great artist too. Maddie, on the other hand, couldn't say a word. What she hoped for is a chance to say sorry. Okay, so she felt that she wanted to confess and make amends, appreciate her, and try to stop her from moving away. In fact, she even thought conveying her idea to protect Wanda if anyone tried to trouble her in any way. In order to reach the place before night, they hurried to Bogin's Height. That's all for today, children. If you have any doubt, please mention in the comment section below.